Caleb, can you scoot this way? Okay, now sit back down so I can see. Okay, I had to think about if the camera was reversed, which way to ask you to move. Okay. We are going to get today's match underway. Today is the last match for our regular season. So the winner of today's match will play against Pod A in the finals on next week. If you will make sure to check your email tomorrow, we will email you out what that schedule looks like. What next week looks like, because there's a couple extra weird things. So there's the Team A versus whichever one of you wins today. So there's a lot of pressure on today. That match is next week. The Pod DEF finals is next week. There is an 8th grade only match against each other next week. And then there's also an 8th grade family trivia night that I will give you a paper about when you leave today. How about you explain it next week? Make sure 8th graders that you need to get that page today because it has to be RSVP turned back into us by next week. The one I just talked about when you were asking the question was not relevant. That question. See me when we're done. Okay, so since today is kind of a high stakes match, to determine who moves on, I will be pretty strict on if you preempt, if you jump in and answer before questions or before your name is called, that kind of stuff. Because it might be kind of messy if we have to, I really don't want to go to a tiebreaker.
That'd be fun. Let's get a minute also.
So, let's begin. Social studies history. Parts of this empire can be found within present-day Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. During its heyday, it was ruled by Sargon II and Sennacherib. After its ruler, Ashurbanipal, died in 627 BC, it began to fall apart. Identified as ancient empire, attacked by the Babylonians, whose capital city was Nineveh. Abby, incorrect. Correct answer is Assyria. Part 2 is in language arts vocabulary. In the Navy, this word describes a sailor with lots of experience at sea. In the Urban Dictionary, this word describes a person who gets really angry about a trivial matter, as well as anyone embarrassed by his own performance or just feeling attacked in general. Give this adjective that also describes pretzels, potato chips. August, salty. And other snacks coated with lots of sodium chloride. Mathematics, geometry, 30 seconds. This is one of those write everything down kind of questions. Two parallel lines are crossed by a transversal. The top parallel line and transversal form angles 1, 2, 3, and 4, with one at the top left and the others in order clockwise around the point where the lines cross. The bottom parallel line and transversal form angles 5, 6, 7, and 8, with 5 at the top left and the others in order clockwise around the point where those lines cross. Identify all of the angles that are always congruent to angle 1. August. Incorrect. Caleb.
Angles 3, angles 5, angles 7.
3, 5, and 7 can't be congruent to itself. I read the answer several times to see if that would be acceptable because I did the same thing in my answer. Science like science. This substance is very useful for a growing baby, serving as a shock absorber, a temperature regulator, and an infection protector. But it can be very bad for the mother if it enters her bloodstream instead of leaving her body when her water is broken. Identify this fluid with a yellow color that comes from the urine of a developing baby, and it surrounds the baby before it's born. That's time. Correct answer is the amniotic fluid. Number 5 is in fine arts music. Franz Schubert's symphony with this number is nicknamed Tragic, while Felix Mendelssohn's symphony with this number is nicknamed Italian. Give this integer. It is also the number of minutes in John Cage's most famous piece, the number of beats in a measure of common time. Noah, 4 is correct. And the number of seasons in a set of pieces by Vivaldi. Page Science, Physical Science. Named from the Greek for the rose flower. This element cost more than $25,000 per ounce in February 2021, partly because COVID affected recent digging for it in South Africa, and partly because it's so useful in catalytic converters. Name this metallic element, considered one of the platinum group metals, and found only when digging for platinum. Caleb. Incorrect. And his chemical symbol is RH. August. Rhodium is correct. So, language arts literature. The novels Snow Falling on Cedars, The Moved Outers, and When the Emperor Was Divine, as well as the memoirs Farewell to Manzanar and Me Say Goddard, all have their main historical background. All have as their main historical background what specific event in which many U.S. citizens of Asian descent were relocated in camps during World War II. Thank you. What? Incorrect. That time, correct answer was Japanese internment. Number 8, social studies, civics. The Supreme Court has said that police violated its protection against unreasonable seizures by extending a traffic stop to let a drug-sniffing dog walk around the car. Identify this constitutional amendment that gives the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. Caleb. What? Incorrect. That's time. I'll take it, August. The 4th amendment. Language arts vocabulary. It could be something you hold back and don't tell anyone, such as you're concerned about a new situation. Give this noun. It can also mean an area of land where Native Americans may live, and some, August, reservation is correct, and something you make now so you can eat dinner at a fancy restaurant later. Miscellaneous sports is number 10. He broke Georgia high school records for passing that have been held by Deshaun Watson, the man who replaced the quarterback. Name this quarterback who is skipping his senior year in college and is widely expected to go to Jacksonville as the #1 pick in 2021 NFL Draft after a stellar career at Clemson. I'm Trevor Lawrence. Math, general math, you do not need a pencil. Only 10 seconds. Said to have been first used by Descartes in the mid-1600s, it makes very large and very small numbers easier to write and calculate with by using exponents. Give the two-word term for this method of writing large. Isabel, scientific notation is correct. Of writing large or small numbers, always written as a times 10 to the b power, where a is less than 10. Number 12 is in language arts spelling. A burglar may walk surreptitiously around his victim's house, trying to find a way to break in. Spell the adverb surreptitiously. That's time. I'll take it, Caleb.
Surreptitiously.
Incorrect. It is surreptitiously. Number 13, social studies history. The History Channel says this concept began developing after the Norman conquest, as knights became less like thugs, and as romantic stories were written to train young knights how to act around women. Identify this code of moral being. And chivalry is correct. This code of moral behavior that nowadays is used by men when they open a door for a woman, offer a seat, or offer their coat on a cold night. 10 to 60. Miscellaneous movies. Once called Jasper and Jinx, this pair had their names changed in most of their cartoons, and by the 1960s had become more popular than Looney Tunes characters. Name this cat and mouse. Maggie. Tom and Jerry is correct. Name this cat and mouse pair that in a 2021 animated movie lived in a hotel that is staging a huge wedding. Social studies geography, number 15. Bridges in this city include the Bridge of the Barefoot, the Bridge of Fists, the Straw Bridge, and the Pont de l'Academia. Name this European city with a canal also crossed by the Bridge of Sighs, a grand canal that is spanned by the Constitution Bridge, and the Rialto, whose Liberty Bridge connects its historical area to the Italian mainland. Caleb,
No.
incorrect. Time, Venice. Miscellaneous television. She opened briefcases on Deal or No Deal before her more famous TV role as a paralegal named Rachel, who goes to law school and then marries her office mate, Mike. Name this woman who, in a 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, talked about learning to curtsy just before she met Queen Elizabeth II, and who is now officially the Duchess of Sussex. Maggie. Merkel is correct. Math, general math, you do not need your pencil, it's only a 10-second question. Michael reads the newspaper every day for between 10 and 15 minutes. Each day for a week, he notes the exact number of minutes in a table. At the end of the week, he draws a horizontal graph that goes between 10 and 15 and puts an X above the number of minutes every time he sees it in the table. Give the two-word term. Caleb. Incorrect. Give the two-word name for this specific type of graph he is making that shows vertical columns of X's. August. Incorrect. It's called a line plot. Science health. The mechanical type of this process uses teeth to break food into smaller pieces. Give this biological term, whose chemical type breaks the food you eat into nutrients that can be used by your body. Sarah. Incorrect. Next time, digestion. Fine arts art. Less than 25 of his works today are actually known to be his. One of the disputed ones is his triptych, Adoration of the Magi. Name this 16th century Dutch painter, famed for his imagery in works like The Temptation of St. Anthony and the triptych, Garden of Earthly Delights. Time. The last name is Bosch, B-O-S-C-H. I'm not going to attempt the first name. Hieronymus, perhaps. 20, mathematics algebra is a 30-second question, so grab a pencil. Give the product of the binomials 4x plus 5 and 3x minus 8. August. Incorrect. That's time. Correct answer is 12x squared minus 17x minus 40. In a normal year, we would spend a lot of time teaching you how to do that. Class of 21 is in social studies and history. It dates from the days of Britain's King Edward VI, and has given us both the marriage phrase, speak now or forever hold your peace, and the funeral phrase, earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Name this religious text, developed by the Anglican Church and used in America by the Episcopals. Time? It's called the Book of Common Prayer. Science health. According to the American Heart Association in 2021, of the 5 daily servings of fruits or vegetables we should eat each day, how many should be vegetables? Caleb. Incorrect. Anakin. Incorrect. 3. Language arts literature. A collection of this author's 100 best short stories includes some set in Illinois, Los Angeles, and Ireland, as well as a couple that were set on Mars. Name this American writer, less famous for his Los Angeles novels like Something Wicked This Way Comes, than for his sci-fi novels like The Martian Chronicles and Fahrenheit 451? August. Bradbury is correct. Final toss-up is social studies history. Its pyramid at La Venta is considered the first Mesoamerican pyramid. This group's name comes from the Aztec for rubber people. Many of its religious and cultural practices were adopted by later groups like the Aztecs and Mayans. Name this civilization, whose capital was San Lorenzo, and that is most famous today for its large stone heads, similar to those on Easter Island. Caleb, incorrect. Noah, Olmec is correct. That is our toss-up pause. Current scores, pod C is 30, pod B is 80. We'll take a minute and then move up into a bonuses. Surreptitiously. It is a word. There's just 400 letters. You're really good at these pep talks.
Yes.
Your pep talks? I like it. But then faster. I think you know a lot of the answers. You're just faster than you are. Huh? Hurry, we're starting in 15 seconds. That's nice. Okay, that's our minute. Let's resume. Oh boy. Maybe I'm less excited than I thought. First bonus is in miscellaneous television. Answer these about Warner Brothers cartoons and cancel culture. Number one, in 2021, this skunk character was removed from Space Jam 2. August? That's correct. Number two, this very fast Mexican mouse, long considered politically incorrect, has a lesser known cousin named Slowpoke Rodriguez. Benefit. Speedy Gonzalez is correct. You know which team watches cartoons. Number three, this author's most famous novel was portrayed in the now censored cartoon Uncle Tom's Bungalow. That's time. Correct answer is Harriet Beecher Stowe. Number four, in a once censored cartoon made during World War II, a cooking class is taught by this Japanese prime minister. Time, Hideki Tojo. Number two is in social studies history. After she died, her stepson left alone any public object that portrayed her as a queen, but removed anything that portrayed her as a king. Number one, name this woman who pretended to be a man at times during the 21 years on the throne of ancient Egypt. Anthony. Incorrect. Fine, and the correct answer is Shepsik. Okay, you finally pronounced it correctly. Thank you. Number two, name the stepson who tried to write her partly out of history. Time. Tutmos III. Number 3, her sarcophagus was found in 1903 by this archaeologist, who nearly 20 years later found the tomb of King Tut. Time. Howard Carter. And number 4, she had 4 granite obelisks built at the temple of the god Amun in this temple complex near the Egyptian city of Thebes. Abby, incorrect. That time is Karnak. Math, general math. This is another write everything down kind of question. Denver, Colorado's city budget for 2020-2021 is approximately $2,400,000,000. Number 1, express this number in standard scientific notation. Caleb,
2.4 times 10 to the 10.
incorrect. August, 2.4 times 10 to the 9th. Remember, only count after the decimal 4. I think you counted all the digits, it's only after the 2-point number of places. Number 2, the city has about 6 times 10 to the 5th people in it, which is this integer. August, 600,000 is correct. Number 3, thus, the city is spending this many dollars for each of its city inhabitants. August,
4 times 10 to the 4.
give that as a non-scientific number. It is incorrect. I did the conversion. Caleb?
40,000.
Incorrect. That's what he said.
Oh, wait.
I just said
4,000.
Oh my gosh.
4 times 10 to the 4th would be
Yeah.
40,000. It's 4.0. So
Wait, what's it, 40,000?
it is 4,000. Number 4, a 20% budget cut for the year would cut this many dollars from the budget. August? Incorrect. Caleb?
$480 million.
480 million is correct. You did it off of the 4,000, not off of the original budget. Language arts literature. Name the authors of these classic British novels. Number 1, Sense and Sensibility. Isabella. Austin is correct. Number 2, 1984. Time, George Orwell. Number 3, less reactionary sound effects. Number 3, Jane Eyre. Time, Charlotte Bronte. Number 4, Matilda. Time, Doll, Roald Dahl. Oh, goody. Fine arts, art. Answer these about the Caravaggio painting, The Supper at Emmaus. Number 1, this famed Dutch painter created a work with the same title. I'm Rembrandt. Number 2, in one version, a man seated on the right with his arms extended in shut wears a pin of this beach object that identifies him as a pilgrim. Time, it's a seashell. Number 3, the scene in the painting is described in the 24th chapter of this New Testament book. Caleb,
John?
correct? Correct answer is Luke. Number 4, one version of the painting hangs in this European capital's National Gallery. Abby, incorrect? Time, guess the European capital, London. Number 7 is in miscellaneous sports. It is contested every 4 years, the year before a Summer Olympics. Number 1, name this Western Hemisphere sporting event similar to the Olympics. Caleb,
Paralympics?
incorrect. Time, called the Pan Am Games or the Pan American Games. Number 2, the US and Canada usually dominate the medals there. In 2019, this South American country finished second in the medal count. Maggie, Brazil is correct. Number 3, this communist country was 6th in the medal count. August, incorrect. Caleb,
Argentina.
incorrect. Cuba. Number 4, the 2019 games were held in this Peruvian capital. Time. Peruvian refers to Peru. Capital of Peru is Lima. So just as history, name these medieval couples. So it does need both names because it is say couples. Number 1, this secretly married couple had a son named Astrolabe, after which the wife became a nun and the husband a monk. Correct answer is Abelard and Heloise. Number 2, these monarchs united their kingdoms of Castile and Aragon. Fine, you probably know them for other things. It's King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Number 3, he died after giving up Excalibur. She went to a convent after her affair with Lancelot. I'm guessing everyone had half of that answer. King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. Number 4, this first member of the Merovingian dynasty was convinced by this wife to become Roman Catholic. Time, Clovis and Clotilda. Score is 50 for C and 130 for B. That's only 80 points. That's only 2 questions. All you need to do is get on a roll for some question you'll know all the answers to. Maybe it'll be this one. Science, physical science. Answer these about the uranium used in building an atomic bomb. Number 1, the material known as yellow cake is 80% uranium combined with this element. Caleb.
Titanium.
Incorrect. Time. Oxygen. Number 2, the yellow cake is converted into a gas whose molecules have 1 atom of uranium and 6 of this halogen. Caleb.
Griffin.
Incorrect. Time. The correct answer is fluoride. Number 3, the isotope uranium-238 can be converted into an isotope of this element with a mass of 239. Caleb.
Titanium.
Incorrect. August. Plutonium is correct. Number 4, the uranium left after a sample has been enriched can be called by this adjective that is an opposite of enriched. August? Incorrect. I'm depleted. Language arts, mythology. You guys get me very stressed. But I'm so fast. Name these Argonauts of myth who helped Jason get the golden fleece. And everyone just moved in their chairs. Number 1, he is more famous for performing 12 labors. Noah. Hercules. That would have also been accepted. I actually have both on the paper for it. Number 2, he was the father of Ulysses in Homer's Odyssey. Time. Laertes. Number 3, he and his twin brother Pollux make up, Abby, Pastor is correct, make up the constellation Gemini. Number 4, she was the only woman in the group. Time. Atalanta. Social studies, geography. Name the Central American country that, number 1, has the longest border with Mexico.
No, it's not there with the camera off. It's the camera. So when he's going to, like when he's staring at the computer, then he's talking.
Anthony. Incorrect.
And he's talking about.
Correct answer was Guatemala. Number 2, you can't communicate and confer and match. Number 2, borders both El Salvador and Nicaragua. Time. Honduras. Number 3 is between Nicaragua and Panama. August?
That's what.
Incorrect. Caleb?
Bahamas.
Incorrect. Costa Rica. Number 4 has its capital at Belmopan. Time, Belize. Language, arts, literature. Name these people who interacted with the biblical King David. Number 1, David replaced this very tall man as king after a long war. Caleb?
What?
Incorrect. Noah?
Saul.
Saul is correct. I don't understand what this tall man includes.
Yeah.
But I understand why he wants to Goliath because of that. I think that's a great clue. Number 2, she was the mother of David's son Solomon. Time, Bathsheba. Number 3, this son of King Saul was one of David's best friends. Time, Jonathan. Number 4, David cut off the head of this Philistine. August, Goliath. After killing him with a slingshot. Social studies civics. Identify these amendments within the Bill of Rights from their verbiage. Number 1, excessive bail shall not be required. Caleb? Incorrect. August? The 8th Amendment is correct. Number 2, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Caleb? Incorrect. August? Which one? 5th is correct. Number 3, the right of the people to keep and bear arms. August, 2nd Amendment. Number 4, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and fair. Which one? Incorrect. Hey. Or no, it is the 6th Amendment. Sorry, no, 4. It's in here. Language arts vocabulary. Identify these terms used in the Episcopal or Anglican Church. Number 1, a priest in charge of the church supported financially by its diocese, not by its members. Time is a vicar. Number 2, an assistant to that priest. Caleb, incorrect. Time is called a curate. Number 3, a ceremony where either of those positions are conferred upon a person. Time called an ordination. Number 4, a person who assists the clergy in running a parish or the man in charge of a prison. Noah, warden is correct. Oh boy, miscellaneous sports. Name these top expected picks in the 2021 NFL Draft. Number 1, Ohio State's quarterback. Time. Justin Fields. Number 2, Alabama's quarterback. Time. Mac Jones. Number 3, BYU's quarterback. Time. Number 4, LSU's wide receiver. Anakin. Incorrect. Oh, I didn't give the answers to any of those. I'm so sorry. Number 1 was Justin Fields. Number 2, Mac Jones. Number 3, Zach Wilson. Number 4, Jamar Chase. Language arts spelling. Please be slow and clear over the milk cooler thread. Number 1, spell these food words used in a recent national spelling bee. Number 1, mahi-mahi, a type of fish. Caleb.
Maumina.
Incorrect. August. Find your answers. Mahi, Mahi. Number 2, persimmon, a kind of fruit. Isabella. That's correct. Number 3, oregano, a popular spice. August. That's correct. Number 4, pumpernickel, a type of bread. August.
Pumpernickel.
Correct. And we will finish up with one last question. We will go with miscellaneous television. Answer these about TV shows on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Don't sigh yet. Sigh halfway through the question. Number 1, on one recent day, the 24 hours of programming included 12 hours of this white balding psychologist show. Anakin. Dr. Phil is correct. Number 2, it carries reruns of this NBC series shown on weekends that tells true life crime stories. Caleb. Dateline. Number 3, you might want to sigh now. Number 3, this drama is about the lives and loves of the estranged Borderland siblings in Louisiana. I know what's your favorite show to watch. Correct answer is Queen Sugar. Number 4, this new series, which shares its name with a biblical temptress, features a female lawyer who takes on cases the big firms ignore, making a name for herself in the game. And what's your second favorite show? Maggie. Incorrect. Correct answer is Delilah. With that, we conclude our match. We had a final score of 70, and I don't know how it happened, 250 over here. Okay. So I need to see eighth graders. The friends, make sure you check your emails so you know when you can play next week. We'll send that out shortly, and let's get everything packed up.
Already a little bit. No, it's all right.
Yeah, if it has somebody who's like on this staff. I don't think it's a position.
Not paper away already. Get the paper back out.
I was going to one.
Or she.
I was always running.
I know, it just.
I think that gives
Okay,
you a
like,
hand.
why are you running out of it?
I don't know.
No, I already was gonna say.
Yeah, okay, well, you clearly did not say your.
Every time you said it, I just.
We're gonna leave. it.
Yeah, I think I was kind of running, you know.
You should have said it a few more times.
I don't know.